Pretty soon, your kids will be heading back to school. Let's hear it for that.
Yeah,
right.
So joining us in studio with some tips for prepping them for the first day is licensed psychologist Dr. Nicole Perkins. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me back. Great to be here.
Yes, yeah.
So the school year can be exciting for parents ready for kids to go back to school, and some kids get really excited about that, but there can also be anxiety and increased stress for many kids around going back to school.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So where do you start with addressing those issues prior to, okay, tomorrow's school?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we're about 2 to 3 weeks out here in West Michigan for most kids to start school, so the perfect time to be thinking about getting some routines and things in place again. And I think the biggest thing for parents to remember is that the more familiar that kids are with what they're going to be seeing and experiencing in school, the less stress and anxiety they have. So getting out to those open houses, taking the tour of the building, meeting the teachers. For younger kids, going and spending time playing on the playground. You know, parents often forget that you can do that any day while the weather's still nice, and it really helps kids develop positive thoughts around being at school. For older kids, making sure that they know where their locker is, how to use their lock, right? Those kinds of things that really help minimize the stress and anxiety about that.
Yeah, that's great, because obviously for kids, you know, they're maybe going into different schools, into junior high from elementary and then to the high school, you know, what can you do as well?
That's right. So some other things for parents to start thinking about: if your child's going to be either driving to school or taking the bus to school, or even if they're walking, you can start practicing that route now. It's another way to get kids familiarized with what they're going to be experiencing on that first day. And then there's some things that parents can start thinking about doing at home now. Lots of kids have been spending more and more time on video games, screen time over the summer. That just happens, right? So starting to get into the habit now of slowly reducing some of that time so that it's not a shock to their system when school comes around. I went from spending all of this time on screens to now none, and maybe getting a little more reading time and kind of just ramping back up into some of those academic kinds of things can be really helpful.
One of the things that I've always noticed is trying to get them from sleep or staying up really late to all of a sudden having to change that and get up really early.
Yeah, and that's a big one, especially for our preteens and our teens. So this is exactly the right time to be starting to think about that. 2 to 3 weeks ahead, you want to slowly, every couple days, start moving that bedtime back a little bit so that it's earlier and earlier, and starting to move that wake up time a little bit earlier. Ease them into it, because as you said, it can be a real shock to the system the first day of school, getting up early in the morning. I know my kids have to be up before 6 a.m. And if we don't kind of ease into that, it can be a real shock. So those are important things to start to be doing now. And I think, you know, back to school shopping is another area where we get all these lists for things, and including kids in that. Having them come shopping with us to pick out folders and backpacks and things that get them excited about school, so they've got some things that they feel good about on the first day, and they're involved in that process. Helps ease the way too.
Yeah, we're actually trying something this year where my son yesterday went with a buddy to go school clothes shopping. We gave him a budget and we let him go on his own.
Awesome.
Now he came back with stuff that we're like, okay, good. This is good. He did a good job.
That's right.
But it kind of gives them a little bit more empowerment to do their own thing.
Absolutely. And he's excited about some things that he might wear the first week of school. Anything that we can do, especially with those older kids, to help them feel a little bit more interested and excited about going back, seeing their friends, being a part of the school year. Those are all things that help pave the way.
Yeah, wonderful. And how can folks get a hold of you as well if they'd like more information?
Yeah, so my clinic is Horizons Developmental Resource Center. They can go to our website, horizonsdrc.com.
Very good. We'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah, be back. Yeah.
All right.